Is it even worth it being a whistleblower in South Africa? Like, honestly. I mean, how many times are we going to hear the same story? A witness comes out, deemed a whistleblower, few weeks down the line, few days down the line, few months down the line, assassinated. I mean, if these people are willing to unalive people in order to keep their secrets, then, honestly speaking, if you as a person, if you are not ready to unalive someone to take out the truth, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Now, because honestly speaking, right now, I'm starting to see why people choose to keep quiet and why people choose to rather just join the crime. Why not just join the crime then? Because if you choose the opposite, then, I mean, that's the worst option you can choose, the opposite. Because honestly speaking, you'll end up at the very same place that all the previous whistleblowers or all the previous witnesses end up in, which is 7 feet underground.
Whistleblowers in this country are an endangered species. They get intimidated, they get killed. It's important for all of us, from the most powerful to the most humblest of us, to protect whistleblowers. Because what Mkhwanazi has done is to give an opportunity to the country to uproot corruption, to uproot gangsterism and cartels from the criminal justice system. An opportunity that could have only been given by a whistleblower. Because our experience with prosecutors, our experience with the police, our experience with politicians on the ground, on the police stations, in the magistrate courts, is that there is a lot of bribery, corruption. And Mkhwanazi has given us an opportunity to uproot that as a country, to restore integrity into the criminal justice system. We must take this opportunity with both hands. We must help, as opposed to treating him as an antagonistic force. There is no mess that he has done. He has exposed the mess. We must accept this opportunity, welcome it, and isolate all the forces that seek to discredit this process.
Okay, and then at paragraph 15, this is you weren't involved in like I said, the meeting between Colonel Rulofse and Advocate Johnson. But did Colonel Rulofse tell you what transpired in that meeting?
I can confirm that Colonel Rulofse was approached by Advocate Johnson and what transpired on that specific day.
And does what he says transpire accord with what he told you at the time? You heard his evidence. Does it?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Then if I could ask you to then read from paragraph 16 on page 7 of your statement.
Both Advocate Batohi and Advocate Johnson are well aware of the potential serious consequences of their conduct, which has the potential to compromise the investigation and place the safety of whistleblowers like the Colonel at risk. Had it not been for the Colonel's decision not to delete the email from Advocate Johnson to her and then to come forward with the information, we have never would have known as a senior prosecutor and now the head of IDAC had furnished a suspect with the contents of a docket when he was not entitled to this information at that time.
You say at the beginning of that paragraph, both Advocate Batohi and Johnson are well aware of the serious consequences of their conduct. So you are saying Advocate Batohi discussing this matter with Advocate Johnson would have had consequences for the case. Can you just explain that?
Commissioner, yes, the very same thing that we are accusing or saying Advocate Johnson did by supplying a person of interest with a copy of a docket to prepare himself and to prepare himself to make a statement to tailor the evidence that is there in the case docket. It's exactly the same what Advocate Batohi did to Advocate Johnson at that time.
Yes. Maybe then, just to be clear, explain what you say in paragraph 14, right at the end. This is where you discuss the meeting of General Libya and the NDPP. And you say in the last sentence, I think it is likely that General Libya met Advocate Batohi on that day and gave a copy of the colonel's statement, which is what we expected him to do. Can you just explain that in your own words when you say General Libya was expected to give it? What would have been the purpose of him giving this to Advocate Batohi?
Commissioner, yes. The purpose of giving the statement a copy of the statement to Advocate Batohi was the sole purpose of that is so that Advocate Batohi can be in a position to see for herself and read for herself the statement and the implications of what Advocate Johnson did. It was not given to her with the purpose of sharing it with a person of interest. Definitely not. Commissioners.
Yeah, I mean, it seems there may have been, you give it to her for purposes of making the decision about appointing a prosecutor or for her to institute disciplinary action. Was that the second part? Was it ever in the contemplation when you gave it to her? In which case, it would explain why she would discuss it with Advocate Johnson.
Commissioner, at that point, we only wanted a prosecutor to see whether what is told to us is indeed so that we can get cell phone records and see if we can corroborate what the witness is talking about. That's the sole purpose of.
Thank you.
I want to, Captain, follow up from that. In paragraph 12 and 15 of your statement, so obviously you talk about the meeting between General Libya and Advocate Batohi on the 2nd of September. But then in paragraphs 12 and 15, you talk about Advocate Johnson speaking to Mr. Bateman after she is made aware of this whistleblower complaint or the statement. Now, my understanding is that once there is such a complaint, Mr. Bateman would be a witness or a potential witness.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Now, would it be proper for Advocate Johnson, when the complaint is against her, to be talking to witnesses and assuring them that they have nothing to worry about and this is not
sorry, Commissioner, that is where we are saying the interference came, Commissioner. Why will you, knowing that you're a person of interest, you know the witness, why will you now go and approach the witness? Are you trying to intimidate the witness? Are you trying to tell the witness the walkie is going to come there, tailor your evidence? We don't know. But it's improper for a person of interest, especially a senior prosecutor within the MPA, knowing the law, to approach a witness in this fashion.
And to even tell them that the Hawks might be coming to speak to you.
Correct, Commissioner. That's what I'm talking about, Commissioner.
Why did you have to wait for Mr. Bateman's statement, which you only received in June 2026? I do understand a statement from Mr. Bateman could have completed the picture, but if it was not forthcoming, why wait for it forever?
That's a good question, Commissioner. Like I said, after requesting the statement from Mr. Bateman in June 2022, and subsequent getting a call from Advocate Johnson telling him We know. Don't worry, we are still friends. The hawk is going to come to you. What we understood was he became sick. I'm not sure whether that had a direct impact on him becoming sick. I can only say, if I was in his shoes, I think I would have done the same thing. Because here, I'm trusting the police. I'm giving them the evidence. But now it goes back to the person of interest. And the person of interest, who is supposed to uphold the law, then phones the witness, trying to intimidate the same witness. I would also think, if I was in his shoes, I will wait till I'm approached again.
I'm not sure that that answers the question why you waited until 4 years later.
Why I waited, Commissioner?
Yes.
I had to...
The two of you as investigators up to the retirement of Colonel Rulofse, and then you continuing until what a period of 4 years had elapsed, and at which point you did get Mr. Bateman's statement.
Commissioner, I think my biggest issue was that we didn't have a prosecutor at the time. Mm-hmm. And for me to go back to the witness and say, I want your statement, I must be in the position to tell him, yes, indeed, we have a prosecutor, we will proceed. I must try and convince him now again to give me that statement and trust us again. But what happened before that is, in my opinion, the reason why we were struggling to get the statement and only got it in this year.
All right. No, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Captain, I think that Commissioner Kumalo had referred you to paragraph 15 of your statement as well, which you, maybe if you can read that portion.
On the 7th of September 2022, Colonel Rulofse told me that Advocate Johnson approached him at work and they had a brief meeting in her office. According to Colonel Rulofse, Advocate Johnson told him that she saw Colonel's statement and mentioned that the Colonel's name, as well as the name of the officer who commissioned the Colonel's statement, Colonel Odendaal. He also told me that Advocate Johnson told him that Advocate Batohi had discussed the matter with Advocate Johnson and showed her the Colonel's statement. In other words, Advocate Batohi now revealed to Advocate Johnson that the Colonel had implicated Advocate Johnson in wrongdoing. I was disappointed with Advocate Johnson's conduct.
Batohi.
Advocate Batohi's conduct. She had done for Advocate Johnson what Advocate Batohi did for Advocate Johnson, had it not been for General Khan.
No, just
in other words,
again,
Advocate Batohi is doing exactly the same as what Advocate Johnson did for General Khan. Colonel Rulofse, who told me that Advocate Johnson told him that she spoke to Mr. Bateman before meeting him with Colonel Rulofse, and that told Barry Bateman not to worry.
And then we were at 16, so maybe you can just then read from paragraph 17.
If Advocate Johnson was of the view that the conduct was proper, she would have sent the information directly to General Khan in a professional capacity as a senior prosecutor using a work email address. Advocate Johnson clearly understood that what she did was a contravention of her duties as a prosecutor who must act without fear, favor, and prejudice. In this instance, she clearly intended to favor General Khan so that he could have the benefit of the complainant statement and the contents of the docket when he prepared his warning statement, which he submitted on the same day that Advocate Johnson sent the information to the Colonel. Colonel also informed me of a discussion he had with Mr. Lees on the 5th or the 6th of September 2022, before he met with Advocate Johnson on the 7th of September 2022. Mr. Lees told Colonel Rulofse that Mr. Bateman informed Advocate Nell about the conversation he had with Mr. Bateman,
that he, Mr. Bateman, had with Advocate Johnson.
Correct. On the 5th of September 2022, regarding the Colonel's statement. I confirm that Colonel Rulofse informed me of the WhatsApp conversation with Mr. Lees, and that on the day when Advocate Johnson called Mr. Bateman about the Colonel's statement, Mr. Bateman had sent a series of WhatsApp messages to Advocate Gerry Nel, setting out the conversation with Advocate Johnson on the 5th of September 2022.